What's up guys, in this video I'm going to be doing a detailed analysis on a fight between WillOCN and Paris, taken from Will's Korea Tour video. I'm going to be breaking down what exactly they're doing and why they're doing it, as well as point out some mistakes. This is my first time doing something like this, and I enjoy making these things, so I would appreciate any criticism. I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, so the first map that they end up playing is Dojo, which is a very offensive centered map. So if you know what you're doing on offense, you could devastate the other player. So Will is going to go for a hippo at the start, which is a controversial strat. It's pretty risky, but he knows what he's doing. So notice how he's only spending a couple seconds getting the main part of the middle hippo down. He's not hippoing over here or over here. He only has a couple seconds to get the hippo down, and doing that is actually pretty useful. So he ends up doing that very quickly, and he's ready to turn around in case Paris is rushing. She doesn't rush, but instead she starts going for a wing. So he's going to go for the bow shot here, which is the correct decision. Actually ends up killing her, which is very fortunate for him. Notice how he goes for the counter wing right away, like as she's falling in the void. This is like the perfect opportunity to do it, because she's not going to be rushing or like continuing the wing or not. So this is a very smart decision to get out the counter wing right there. Okay, so early game pressure on this map is very important. So instead of bypassing here, he's going to go for the kill. So maybe if he gets the kill, then he can mess up her side of the bridge. He ends up getting one hit, but she holds S, so she gets knocked back a lot. He's going to build up a little bit, try to develop a little bit of a head hitter, so he's able to kill her easier. But she notices that, so she mines the block above him and hits him back. Now since she's low, she's going to take this time to gap, but Will doesn't gap because he wants to mine through and knock her back first, or try to kill her first. I think that was a bad idea. I think he should have gapped, but it didn't really matter too much. She ends up blocking him off, so he can't hit her. And then she goes in and wins the fight. Okay, so after Will dies here, Paris is going to take this opportunity to go for another wing. Notice how she's going for a wing on this side and not this side, because Will has a counter to this side. So it's going to be more beneficial for her to wing over here. So if he goes for the bow shot and then tries to get an early counter wing like he did before, again he gets lucky and the bow shot kills her. So he's going to develop this bridge a little bit, and then he's going to take the fight right here to hopefully kill her and get pressure. He gets raped in this fight. His aim is off and he goes in with a jump for some reason, which ends up making him take a lot of KB. So he just gets raped in this fight. He drops down, he places a couple blocks as he's falling to block up the wall bridge, since he might as well, you know. So after he dies, Paris is going to go back on the wing. He notices that over here is a very good spot to bypass in, so he's going to take this time to block it up while Paris is going to start to wing. Paris starts to wing more, but he doesn't even have to bow her since he just falls. She does get a down sack off though, and that might be dangerous later. So he goes for some more bridge development as he goes up. And now he's going to try to mess up her side a little bit. He gets the chance to place a couple blocks, but he knows he doesn't have that much time to do anything. Now that she's so close to him, he has to act. So he's going to go for a little bit of a wall bridge. He knows that she's going to drop, and he knows that he can't just keep going because she will just kill him like that. So he goes for a head hitter. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's going on here. So he's going to mine this block so he can use his pathway when he needs to. And then he's going to place the block right here, so that she can't just charge in and instantly kill him. He sees that she drops, so he decides to start mining a hole right here, so he can switch sides when he needs to. He wants to catch her off guard, so he exits his bypass and tries to spleef her. She switches sides, so he realizes that's not going to work. So he rebuilds the roof that was already there, because having a roof above you is going to help you a lot when you're bypassing. He knows that she's still on that side, so he knows that he has time to continue developing this bypass. She drops on him and gets the first hit, but it doesn't matter because he has better timed block hits and crits, so he wins that 1v1. He sees that there's a hole above him, so he patches this up while he can, but he knows that she's still going to drop on him. So he decides to mine his own wall bridge in hopes that he's going to spleef her. And it does end up working out. She takes this time to block off this end of the wall bridge, and he still wants this pathway to be usable, so he's going to extend a pathway that goes around the part that's blocked off, so he can still use his bypass. Okay, so he starts swinging his sword because he is anticipating that she's going to drop onto him and start fighting. Unfortunately, she gets a hit on him while he's looking away, and that messes him up. So he retreats and places a bunch of blocks because he doesn't want her to aggro him. He's in a bad position right here though, so he decides to mine through the bridge, switch sides, and he starts to wall bridging to hopefully have a direct path to the goal. But he forgets that she blocked this part up already, so he ends up having to retreat and get out of here. And then he mines back into the middle of the bridge to get into a safer position. But he isn't at full health, and he knows that she's going to drop on him soon probably, so he needs the gap right here. She drops on him, and he misses like half of his hits, and so he has no chance of winning that fight, and he ends up dying. Okay, so Will is going to develop the bridge a little bit. He sees that Paris is on the right. He thinks that Paris is probably going to be bypassing bottom right soon, so he goes for the bow shot in order for it to make it easier for him to kill her. He misses the bow shot, but it doesn't really matter since she gets too close to him, and he can easily hit her off. She gets a bit of an extension as she dies, but it doesn't matter too much as he ends up blocking it off. He doesn't block off the entire thing, but he even blocks off the majority of it, which is what matters mostly. He develops his bridge a little bit more and goes back to mid. And he misses his bow shot here, but it actually ends up helping him. So he basically just gets lucky because she gets a bow shot while he gets a sword hit, and he wins the fight. He's going to gap up here and then go down to where his wall bridge is. Sorry, to where his bypass is. He knows that there's a hole behind him, so that's how he knows that's probably where Paris is going to be. So he's going to back up here and block trap Paris in there. He knows that Paris is going to be chasing him, so he has to get the hell out of there. So he ends up bridging outwards. He sees that she's chasing him, so he knows that she's probably going to go for a suicide. So he decides to tower upwards, and he knows that Paris is in a very bad position. So he can just go straight over her. And at this point, he knows that she's going to void. So he decides to develop a little bit of a head hitter here. But he doesn't want, because he thinks that Paris is going to drop down right here, which she does. He decides to change sides, and then he goes for a bow shot so he can gap. He misses the bow shot, but still gaps anyways. I think he thought that he was going to land it, and that ends up being the mistake that kills him. Okay, so Will's going to go up to mid. He's going to develop his bridge just a little bit. Once he gets to mid, he realizes that Paris is only at 6, so Paris has not had time to gap. So he can just get an easy kill right here. He's going to gap up to get back to full health, and he's going to develop his side a little bit more for him to have a better shot at getting this kill right here. Once he gets this kill right here, he's in a very, very good position. So he decides to drop down to the left, and what he does right here is he fake gaps. He pretends like he's going to gap, so Paris jumps and aggros him. So once he sees that Paris jumps, he places a couple blocks to add onto his head hitter, and then he goes in and scores. So that was a very smart play on his part. So Will's going to go for a pre-bow here. He ends up missing, but it doesn't matter too much. So he's going to take this opportunity to fill in the sides of the middle hippo that he never got to do at the beginning of the game. So he's going to fill that in, and then he's going to go back to mid. He sees Paris drop down on the left to bypass, so he drops down and follows her. And he ends up hitting her towards his base. I think this was an impulsive hit. I don't think he meant to do this if he was thinking. So yeah, honestly I think it would have been better if he just didn't hit her at all and just voided. So he sees that she's right there, so he has to drop down on the right side. She sees where he is, and she backs up and places a bunch of blocks. Right. Notice that she places a bunch of blocks here because there's slabs right here. So this is going to make it more difficult for him to chase her and hit her off right here. But he doesn't have really much of a choice except for to aggro here and go for the kill. But unfortunately, he never gets in range to kill her. So yeah, at this point, there's not really that much he can do. For some reason, he stays over here. Honestly, I would have gone over there. I think he would have had a better shot at killing her if he was over there. But again, not really much he could do. She basically had goal guaranteed at this point. So yeah, she's going to score right here, but it's alright. So Will is going to drop down over here. He's going to fill in this part of the hippo that he never got the chance to do. Did it a little bit sloppy, but it's okay, since he needed to get that done fast, and he got down the majority of it filled in. Paris is going to take this time to develop the swing a little bit. He's going to go for the bow shot. It doesn't end up killing her, but he gets a little bit of a counter wing off. He sees that she's right there, so he's going to aggro her and perhaps hit her off right here. But she sees that coming and turns around and bows him off for the easy kill. She just goes down right here for some reason. I think she didn't know that he was this close. Either that or she didn't know that he was going to aggro her. So he easily kills her right here. Gets the one tap. He's going to develop his bridge a little bit more, get back to mid. And then again, he's just going to one tap her off. I think that she was hoping that he would boost her to this part of the bridge so she could continue the wing. But it didn't really end up going her way and he just easily killed her. Now he's going to wait to bypass because he's going to wait for her to go on the bridge. So now that she's on the bridge, he's going to fall down, make a head hitter. She's going to block it off, but he's going to unexpectedly aggro her and block her in, and then easily get the goal. Those unexpected aggros are keeping Parihs on her toes, and that's what's helping Will a lot right now. So Will sees this arrow, so he's going to dodge at last second. He's going to develop the bridge a little bit more as he goes up. At this point, he sees Parihs with her bow out, and he knows that it's too late for him to take out his bow. So he just goes for the aggro. He does end up getting the kill right here. Honestly, a little bit lucky. I don't think Parihs saw that coming. He's going to gap up right here. Parihs lands the bow shot right here, and she's at the perfect distance to bow combo him. So he knows that if he keeps going, he's just going to die. So what he does is he jumps and bows. And bowing is going to send her back, and jumping is going to make him take a lot of KB. So he just made a lot of distance between him and her. She expected him to start gapping right here, and he knew that, so he caught her off guard by just going for the aggro and killing her, getting the easy kill right there. This is the perfect opportunity to develop a bypass, so he's going to drop down, create a pathway between the left and right sides, which is extremely useful in like every map. He's not going to make it obvious where he's going. He's going to develop a hit hitter on the left and sprint through it. He gets stopped by this block, which he didn't see. It didn't matter too much though. At this point, I don't think he knew that he wasn't at full health right here. Even though he got the bow combo, he did not get the bow trick. So they ended up trading hits, and since she has lower ping, she gets the last hit and he died. So I think if any point before that he gapped, he would have had a much better shot at getting the goal right there. So as usual, Will is going to develop his bridge as he goes to mid. He's going to go for a bow shot and then bypass on the left. He's going to stay up high a little bit, but Parihs ends up blocking him off right here. He's going to try to go for the hit right here, but Parihs blocks him off too quickly for him to do that. So he decides to mine to get lower, and he realizes there's a hole there, so he tries to fall into it. That doesn't happen, but luckily Parihs is the one who ends up falling in there, so we can just block her off. And at this point, Parihs has no choice but to void, so he takes his time to gap. He sees this bypass could potentially be really good, so he tries to get to this point, but he fucks it up because he blocks off his only entrance into the bypass, and now he's forced to mine into there. But it's too late at this point, as Parihs can easily just go onto him and get the kill. So Will's going to develop his bridge a little bit more as he goes up. He's going to go for the bow shot and then immediately juke to the left to make her miss her bow shot. Now he's going to add a little bit of a platform here to help him PvP. She's going to start spleefing, so he decides to aggro her and angle to the side. He's kind of at an awkward angle right here, and since he doesn't get the first hit, he gets an awkward double hit. And at this point she's dead. He's in a very good position. He's going to place a couple blocks to hopefully trick her into thinking that he's going to make a head hitter, and so hopefully she will be passive. I'm not sure if that worked or not, but it didn't really matter because he timed his sword blocks perfectly and ended up barely having enough health to get the goal here. So at this point, Will's bridge is pretty much fully developed, so he doesn't have to do too much more work on it. So he goes for the bow shot, he misses. He's at a little bit of a disadvantage at this point. They start trading hits. He realizes that if he keeps trading, that he's going to lose the fight, so he decides to back up and go for a bow combo, and it ends up working out perfectly. He gaps up, he drops down to the left, and he jukes back up, and it ends up working just right against Parihs. At this point, he goes back to mid. Parihs isn't sure if he's going to go on top of the bridge in mid or if he's going to bypass, so he's doing a great job of not making it obvious of where he's going to go. He decides to drop down and go under this head hitter, and go straight through. He thought he had the goal here, but Paris was right behind him and got a hit on him against the wall. So at this point, he's pretty confident in turning around and gapping, even though he didn't see her, because he anticipated that she would take the short way around. So he decides to gap right here, get back to full health. And there used to be a glitch that you could, if you got close enough to a glass pane, you could bow through it and kill the person. Sorry, and hit the person. So he gets the bow shot, he turns around and gets a couple hits on her. She realizes that she's in trouble, so she backs up and goes for a bow shot. It ends up working perfectly for her. She gets a bow combo and ends up actually killing him right here. I think that when he saw the bow come out, he should have backed up so she couldn't get the chance to bow combo him. I think if that happened, then he probably would have gotten the goal right there. So he's gonna mine these blocks right here in hopes that she jumps and he can get an easy kill on her. She doesn't jump, and so he scraps that idea and takes out his bow and tries to bow combo her. As he does that, she catches him off guard and gets an easy kill on him. While he's down here, he might as well make an extension that can be useful later to him when he's bypassing. So he gets that off and voids, and Paris tries to catch him off guard by playing dumb and going straight for the goal. But he sees that coming and then easily kills her right there. So he's going to build back up to mid. And I think Paris, like, her jump didn't work or something, I don't know. I think she just fucked up. Anyways, so he's in a great position to bypass right here. So he goes down bottom left, and I think that he was expecting that she didn't see this pathway right here. And honestly, I don't think she really did. And she got 2 hits on him, but it doesn't end up killing him. He goes for the gap, but it doesn't end up going through. So his gap doesn't go through, and that's why he didn't score, which is unfortunate. So Will is going to mine these blocks right here in hopes that it spleefs her, but she sees it coming and she doesn't fall for it. So they both back up, and then they both go in for a trade. Paris has a wall behind her, so that wasn't good for Will. So Paris is going to take no KB while Will is going to go flying. He's going to survive, but he's still in a terrible position because Paris is just going to bow him, and that's going to end up killing him. He decides that while he's here, he might as well block off this side of the bridge. So he does that and he voids. At this point, they both decide to play aggro here. And this is bad for Will, because that means Paris can just hold W and go straight towards the goal, and Will can't do anything. So honestly, I think at that position, I think it would have been better if Will stayed back and played a little bit more passively. So Will's going to develop his bridge a little bit more. He's going to wall bridge like on the side right here. I don't necessarily agree with doing that. I know it's going to help you like PvP and stuff or whatever, but what it also does is act as a roof for someone bypassing underneath it. So I think that's kind of a controversial strat. Anyways, he misses his bow shot, but Paris hits it. But for some reason it does 0 damage. I'm not sure what that was all about. Anyways, they both go for a spleef, and then they both hold W. And Will has like shaky aim, and he misses his first hit. So she gets a hit, and he doesn't. He's at a health disadvantage at this point. They both go in for a hit. He knows that if they keep going, that he's going to lose the trade. So he tries to back up to get a bow combo on her, but it's not going to work this time because he's too close. So she ends up getting a hit, and there's not really much you can do. He tries to catch her off guard, but it doesn't work out. He does hit her onto the bypass below, but as you can see, this ends up screwing him up, so he can't get there directly. Paris still doesn't get the gap off though, so he goes for a couple hits, but since he's jumping and has no wall behind him, she can just one-tap him off and he's dead. Paris is in a pretty good position at this point. She decides to start tunneling, but Will calls that, and so he mines to where she's going. He gets the first hit and times his block hits well, and now he blocks off that little pathway there. He's gonna gap here and then dodge her arrow. He gets the bow shot, but it's too far away to count as a bow combo, so it ends up just being a trade, and he's gonna lose that trade. I think if he waited a little bit more, then he would have had a better chance of killing her. So she's gonna gap up here. He tries to aggro her, but he like kind of walks right into a bow combo, and she has a wall behind her when she drops down, so he has no chance of winning that fight. At this point, he tries to aggro her, but she sees it coming and places a block where he's going to jump, and that fucks him up. So she sends him flying miles since he has nothing underneath him. They both aggro, kind of. Paris gets knocked back, since she kind of expected that. She's low at this point, so she knows that he's gonna aggro. So she baits going this way. So he turns around, and at this point, she knows that he turned around. So she turns around and hits him, and he goes flying. He does not expect that. So she has the perfect opportunity to gap. He goes for the hit. She actually jukes again and hits him back. At this point, Will is at a horrible position. The best thing he can do is probably void, and that's exactly what he does. He voids, and he tries to get the suicide right here. Unfortunately, he isn't close enough, and it doesn't work out. And Paris is going to get the third goal here. They're both going to enter the fight with a bow shot. They both try to sleeve each other, but the difference is she backs up while Will aggros, and then Will just falls into a hole, and she gets the easy kill on him. So at this point, Will is in a very bad position, because Paris can do a lot of things here. He tries his best to play passive. He tries to mine underneath her and spleef her, but she sees it coming and she backs away. He tries to mine to her and get a couple hits on her, but he just gets hits off because there's a gap next to him. She knows that in this exact position before that he aggroed. So at this point, she's going to bait him to drop down here, and then she's going to go up. He gets really close to killing her, but unfortunately it's not enough. So at this point, it's almost a guaranteed goal. There's not too much Will can do. Notice how Paris waits for him to get impatient and waits for him to jump on the side. At the millisecond that he got impatient, she dropped, and it was an easy goal. Nothing he could do. So at this point in the game, they both have very developed bridges and bypasses. So winning this fight at mid is crucial. They're both going to go for a bow shot. Will tries to spleef. Will tries to jump to the side to catch her off guard, but at this point it's too late, and Paris can just get a double hit on him and kill him. Will tries to bow her off at this point, but he doesn't get it. Okay, notice here, Paris starts to wing, and I think she does that because she wants him to waste his arrow. That's what he does. He wastes his arrow, now he doesn't have an arrow. And now she knows that since he doesn't have an arrow, he's probably gonna aggro. And that's exactly what he does. So she starts spleefing, and she baits him to jump. And that's also exactly what he does. He jumps, and once he's in the air, she starts going forward and gets a double hit on him, and he goes flying. So now Will realizes he's in trouble, so he takes out his bow and tries to bow combo her. But at this point, she's too close, and he can't do anything. So she just one-taps him. Will's in a pretty bad position at this point. The best thing he can do is maybe get a hit off on her. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the hit, whether it was he wasn't close enough or didn't register or whatever, or missed it. I don't know. Anyways, he didn't get the hit. Paris knows that he's going to jump towards her, and it's going to be over this gap. So the moment she thinks he jumps, that's when she turns around and hits him off, and he gets one tapped off because he's in the air. Okay, so Paris is a one tap right here. So the best thing she can do is get right next to the goal and hold block. She holds block at the perfect time and barely has enough health to score. And that's game one.